thing about crystals and stones and cats, the cat being a slight exception because your domesticated animals begin to act a bit like you, but there's no resistant energy, and so it's easier for whatever you're doing when you're tuned in to be reflected back to you. One of the things that we play with you about when we're encouraging you to meditate, when you meditate, you quiet your mind, and when you quiet your mind, you stop thought, and when you stop thought, you stop resistance, and when you stop resistance, your vibration rises, so you have access to the thoughts that your inner being is thinking. And so that's where those lovely daydreams and impulses come from. And so one of the techniques that we've encouraged is that you could listen to the sound of the air conditioning in the room, for example. Listen to it. Hear it? So you usually don't say, I've heard better. You don't have opinions that are in your way about that. And you usually don't have opinions that are in your way about crystals or stones. And often the opposite is true. They're beautiful, or they're rare, or every now and again, Esther would bump into an inanimate object and she would complain about it. And Jerry would always say, but it speaks so nicely of you. And the point that he was making is there are just some things that it's easy for you to have no resistance about. And there are other things that it is more difficult for you to have resistance about. And so when we talk about deliberate creating with all of you, it's much easier for you to hear us and receive us when we talk about you lining up with what you want if it doesn't include another person. If it includes another person, you usually trip yourself up because you think that other people and their intentions, if they don't harmonize with yours, might get in your way. That's what we mean when we say life is coming to you, but it feels to you like it is coming at you, because it feels like others in your world are asserting things at you that you might not want. It's hard for you to get your thoughts around and accept finally that you are the attractor, because you are the expector, because you are the thinker, because you are the vibrator, because you are the offerer of your thoughts, you see. Someone brought some beautiful crystal items to Esther early on in her experience with us. And she was told that they represent energy, that they are energy, that they have power. And so Esther said to us, Abraham, which one should I choose? And we said, if what you have just heard is true, get the biggest one. And then we said, and take it with you everywhere you go. Because if it represents the power that you want, and you want power, then take that with you. And of course Esther could feel our fun that we were having, because the biggest one was big. She could not imagine taking that with her everywhere that she went. And we said, you are the vortex. It's your vibrational frequency that lines up with this energy that creates worlds. We want you to feel the power of who you are. But sometimes the way to recognizing this power is by using your ability to focus upon things that have no resistance. So if someone teaches you to focus upon this crystal, and you have no negative thought about it, and you focus upon it, there's a clarity in that focus that allows your vibration to rise. And of course you are then more powerful, because you're not contradicting your own energies, you see.
Does the crystal itself have a vibration? Because like if there's a table full of crystals, say, you might be drawn to one in particular with no good reason.
You've missed our point completely.
Okay.
Of course, everything has a vibration, and therefore everything has a relationship with you. But the relationship that we want you to be most aware of is the vibrational relationship between you and your inner being. Now, your relationship with the crystal, because it has no resistance, then may very well, in fact, most often does, enhance your relationship with your inner being, because your focus upon that causes you to offer a clear vibration, which makes you hook up with your inner being. Your relationship with the cat, who is selfish and never judging you, and not mad at you when you're not there, and not particularly thrilled with you when you are. A pretty good example of someone who is tuned in, tapped in, turned on. So your relationship with that cat could be like the crystal, something that is conducive to you allowing your vibration to rise. Your relationship with this man whom you felt addicted to, whole other thing, because sometimes your attention upon that caused you to tune in, and sometimes your attention upon that caused you to plummet. And that's what we mean when we say looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for alignment in all the wrong places. You can discover, as the person before you was demonstrating with very clear words, you can discover your alignment through your desire to find it. And you can be so in tune that nothing sets you off your game. Esther would want to claim to be there, but it just took one missing suitcase to make her realize that she's still focusing on people for satisfaction and feeling forgotten and not considered and not very important, as if they owed it to her to hold her in that regard. And we promise you, if you're going much beyond a stone looking for that, you're not going to find it consistently with other people, because it's not their job. Not one person was born saying, I will hold you as my object of attention, and you can always look to me for your power, clarity, and strength. Not one person was born, but that's what you assign to your mates. That's what you owe to me. And when they go ahead and just be human, you get all freaked out. I felt really good when you gave me your undivided attention, but when you took it away, you have let me down. And we say, it's always available to you. Your source never ceases to hold you as an object of attention, and not just an object of attention, but an object of absolute knowing that everything that you've expanded to can be something that is manifested into your experience right now, if you will let it be.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I just need some clarification as to why these particular things are people. What is it about the particularness of them?
Well, when you think about it, there's a lot of reasons through life. Someone was rude, you wanted them to be nice. Someone didn't understand you, you wanted them to understand you. Just through your experience of textures and colors and experiences, you have defined all kinds of preferences. And those preferences reveal themselves to you at different times in different ways. We must give you this basis before the next thing we say will make sense to you. So most humans are looking at humanity or at physical life on the planet. In their desire to understand it, they are comparing, which is all right, it's part of the contrast, comparing, cataloging, pigeonholing, defining, and putting things into groups, because humans want to understand. We love that about you. So you take all of humanity or experience and you put it in piles, and there's the Republican pile and the Democrat pile, and there's the Jewish pile and the Catholic pile and the Protestant pile and so forth. And there's the gay people and the straight people. All these piles, so many piles that you couldn't even count all of them. So many piles of differentiation, or you might say preference. And your inner being says about all of these piles, we see only two. There's a pile of those who are in this moment under the influence of source, and there's a pile of those who in this moment are not under the influence of source or under the influence of something else. In the Democratic pile, there's those under the influence of source and those not. And in the Republican pile, there's those under the influence of source and those not. In other words, every pile has those distinctions. But most humans haven't identified within themselves what influence they were under when they made different decisions about different things. Let's say that you're at home and you're alone and you've been watching a movie or a news report or something, and for whatever reason you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're feeling sort of vulnerable and sort of lonely, and you've activated that end of the stick, and now you've activated all the other ends of that stick, and from your loneliness you feel like reaching out to someone. Well, from your loneliness, when you reach out, you're going to find that end of their stick too. But let's say you took a hike and you felt the energy of your own being and you breathed fresh air and you saw a cat, or you admired a stone, or you meditated, or any of the other millions of wonderful things that you might do in this body on this earth, and you have raised your vibration to this place of pure positive energy. And now a thought that comes to you about an individual is from that end of the stick. You see what we're getting at? Entirely different people occur to you. Think about the people you call and how you feel when you call them. When you're on fire with excitement, do you call your complaining friend? And so it's nice to at least want to be aware of where you're at when you are receiving thoughts, because thoughts are occurring to you when you're under the influence of source, in which case it's coming right out of your vortex, in which case it feels good while it comes and you can feel the power of it. And if you can stay on that trend, you will discover the power of that. Or there's also power, nowhere near in comparison, but it can feel pretty powerful. You can get off on a negative jag and suddenly everybody you're talking to is complaining about that same thing. Esther could really stir up a lot of trouble for United Airlines if she was inclined to do so. She could blog about it. She could call all of her friends, there are millions of them, never ever fly United Airlines.